It was supposed to be just another joint practice. Pads on, helmet strapped, a few chippy scrimmage reps between the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Rams. But what fans and media witnessed instead? Something way more explosive. Forget the drills. Forget the plays. The real action happened on the sideline, where Cowboys owner Jerry Jones and star linebacker Micah Parsons went head-to-head in a confrontation that was anything but subtle. We're talking full-on, cameras rolling, teammates awkwardly frozen kind of tension. And in true Cowboys fashion, it happened in front of the entire NFL universe. Let's set the scene.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
Micah Parsons, arguably the most dominant defensive player in football right now, isn't just showing up at camp to hit sleds. He's there with a purpose, a mission, a payday. And so far, that mission has been stonewalled by one man, Jerry Jones. Now, to be fair, Jerry's been playing the same game for decades, waiting until the last possible moment to deal with contracts, betting on brand loyalty and a firm handshake instead of modern negotiation protocols. It's his thing. But Micah? He's not buying into the nostalgia. This is a generational talent who's watched lesser players on other teams cash in while he's asked to hold the line. And he's done waiting. Sources say Parsons has been kept out of team drills, partly due to contract tensions and partly to preserve his health. But that doesn't mean he's quiet. He's vocal. He's visible. And on this particular day, when Jones made an appearance at practice, things hit a breaking point. Eyewitnesses say it started off civil, a passing comment, a cold nod. But then words were exchanged. Voices raised. Parsons reportedly confronted Jones directly, accusing him of using the Cowboys brand to avoid paying players what they're worth. Jones, in turn, allegedly fired back with his classic line about no one being bigger than the star on the helmet. Except Micah is bigger than the star right now. He's the face of the defense, the heart of the locker room, the one player who can wreck a game plan by himself. And yet, he's watching other teams lock up their franchise players while Dallas, once again, plays the waiting game. And this wasn't just about the money. It was about respect, about leadership, about direction. Parsons reportedly told Jones, loud enough for media mics to pick it up, "You keep selling the dream, but we're not winning rings." And if that wasn't enough, he allegedly ended the exchange by walking away, leaving Jones standing alone, mid-sentence. That happened. And while fans may argue whether it was the right time or place for such a blow-up, here's the truth. This was a long time coming. Because let's not forget, Parsons already hinted at a trade request earlier in the offseason. He was frustrated, disillusioned, and tired of watching this franchise chase relevance instead of rings. He's made it known, privately and publicly, that if Dallas isn't serious about building a contender, he will leave. Now, toss in Jerry's outdated handshake-style negotiations, the Cowboys' playoff mediocrity, and the lack of urgency around extending Micah's deal, and you've got the perfect cocktail for a sideline explosion. And the timing? Couldn't be worse. The Rams were dominating drills. The Cowboys looked flat. And fans in attendance were booing. At a practice. So when your star defender is sitting out, your team is getting cooked, and your owner is out there arguing with a player instead of negotiating behind closed doors? That's not just tension. That's a full-blown franchise crisis. Inside sources say the locker room is now on edge. Some players sympathize with Parsons. Others just want the drama to go away. But nobody's pretending things are normal. And let's talk optics. NL media is all over this. National outlets running the clip. Analysts like Shannon Sharpe and Ryan Clark calling out the Cowboys for letting things get this far. Social media? Completely lit up. Fans are either rallying behind Micah or roasting Jerry for being stuck in 1996. And here's the kicker. This might actually work in Parsons' favor. Because the pressure is now on. Not just from fans, but from agents, sponsors, and even other players around the league. Everyone sees what's happening. And if the Cowboys want to avoid becoming the next "how not to handle your star player" cautionary tale, they're going to have to fix this. The question is, Will Jerry blink? History says no. But Micah? He's not playing the long game. He's done with loyalty without reciprocity. He wants a deal. He wants a future. And if Dallas won't give it to him, he'll find a franchise that will. So buckle up, Cowboys Nation. This story isn't just about contracts. It's about legacy. It's about respect. And it's about whether Jerry Jones can evolve before he loses the best defensive player he's drafted in decades. Stay tuned, because the firestorm in Dallas? It's just getting started. Let's talk fallout. After Micah Parsons walked off mid-confrontation, leaving Jerry Jones literally mid-sentence like some billionaire grandpa at a Thanksgiving table, it didn't just send shockwaves through Cowboys camp. It rattled the entire NFL media machine. You could feel it. This wasn't your typical locker room spat. This was something way bigger. Because this was the face of your franchise, the guy who is your identity right now, standing up and essentially saying, "I'm not going to let you waste my prime." And that's what this really comes down to. Micah Parsons knows his value. He knows his timeline. And most importantly, he knows the Cowboys brand needs him more than he needs them. That's the energy he brought to that sideline, and it's the exact kind of confidence that made him a star in the first place. But let's not pretend Jerry Jones didn't see this coming. Micah has been sending signals for months. He's shown up, done his job, and every time he opens his mouth in front of a mic, there's just the slightest tension, like he's biting his tongue just enough to keep things professional. But every comment about championship culture, or accountability, or taking the next step has really been aimed at one thing: the leadership at the top. And now the gloves are off. After that practice confrontation, you better believe Jerry felt the heat. Reports say Jones left the field early, ducked media questions, and immediately called a closed-door meeting with front office staff. Probably to spin damage control. Probably to remind everyone that this is his team. But let's be real, nobody's buying that anymore. Because this is no longer a one-man operation. This is the modern NFL. Players aren't afraid of ownership anymore. They are the product. They are the brand. And when a generational talent like Micah Parsons puts you on blast, you don't just shake it off and hit the golf course. You feel that in your wallet. In your ratings. In your legacy. And Jerry Jones? He's obsessed with legacy. But here's the problem. Legacy doesn't sign checks. Legacy doesn't line up on Sunday and wreck a game from the edge. Legacy doesn't give you leverage in a locker room that sees your decisions getting questioned by your own players. Micah isn't asking to be treated special. He's asking to be treated fairly. He's looking at the landscape, at Nick Bosa's deal, TJ Watt's deal, Myles Garrett's deal, and saying, "I'm on that level. So why are we pretending I'm not?" And that's the million-dollar question. Literally. Why is Jerry playing chicken with a player who could single-handedly carry this defense into deep playoff runs? Why is he acting like the clock isn't ticking? Because here's the truth. Micah's already given you 3 years of elite-level play on a rookie contract. He's played hurt. He's lined up wherever the team asked him. He's kept his mouth shut through losses and chaos. And now that it's time to talk money, suddenly the phones stop ringing. Suddenly the agent's emails go unanswered. Suddenly the Cowboys' way means waiting until the last second, again. But Micah's not having it. He's seen this before. He watched how Dallas handled DeMarcus Lawrence. How they dragged their feet with Dak. How they let Amari Cooper walk and turned Ezekiel Elliott's contract into a circus. It's a pattern. And Micah? He's not going to be the next victim. Which is exactly why he walked away. Why he's refusing drills. Why he's willing to burn bridges in public if it means protecting his future. Because Micah's not playing for clout. He's playing for control. And right now, he's taking it. And while Cowboys fans are torn, some blaming Micah for airing dirty laundry, others finally waking up to how outdated Jerry's management style really is, the rest of the league is just watching and waiting. Because if there's even a whiff of trade availability, the phones will explode. Teams would throw the vault at Dallas to land Parsons. First-round picks? Done. Starters? Sure. Cap space? They'll make it work. Because a talent like Micah doesn't just upgrade your defense. He changes your entire identity. He's a tone setter. A culture creator. And he knows it. And here's where it gets even more chaotic. Some insiders say that this wasn't the first heated exchange. That things have been simmering for weeks, arguments behind closed doors, tension in film sessions, awkward sideline body language that PR tried to cover up. And when Jones brushed off Micah's agent again this week, that was it. That was the spark. So now the Cowboys are in damage control mode. Expect statements. Expect leaks to the media about how talks are ongoing. Expect a few anonymous quotes from within the organization saying, "We love Micah. We just want what's best for the team." But none of that changes what we all saw with our own eyes. A superstar calling out the boss in front of everyone and walking away like he dared them to do something about it. That takes guts. That takes power. And more than anything, that tells you this isn't going away quietly. So what happens next? Jerry Jones has two choices. Option 1, evolve. Pick up the phone, respect modern negotiations, pay your superstar, and get out of your own way. Option 2, stick to the old school pride, double down on control, and watch the best defensive player you've had since DeMarcus Ware walk out the door, and possibly win a Super Bowl somewhere else. And you know what the wildest part is? Micah knows he holds all the cards. Because it's not just about sacks or pressures or Pro Bowls. It's about the fact that this locker room respects him. They follow him. And if Jerry keeps pushing, he risks not just losing one player, but the entire locker room's trust. You can't coach your way out of that. So as the sun sets over Oxnard and the Cowboys try to pretend this was all just competitive fire, don't be fooled. This was a line in the sand. This was a player saying, "Pay me or play without me." This was the spark of something much bigger than a training camp disagreement. Because in today's NFL, respect is currency. Power is public. And loyalty? Well, loyalty only lasts as long as the check clears. All right, let's keep peeling back the layers of this drama, because what's happening in Dallas? It's not just a contract dispute. It's a collision course between the old NFL and the new one. And guess what? The new one doesn't wait for anyone. Let's talk about what this moment really represents. Jerry Jones is clinging to a system that's worked for him. A system built on power plays, personal loyalty, and controlling the narrative. But that system? It's crumbling. Because players aren't playing the silent game anymore. Not when they've got cameras, followers, and influence. Not when they are the brand just as much as the star on the helmet. And Micah Parsons? He's the prototype of this new generation. He's not just a linebacker, he's a leader, a brand, a businessman. He knows exactly what he brings to the table. And he's not here to let nostalgia dictate his future. Let's call it what it is. Jerry's playing chess in a world that's switched to high-speed poker. And he just got bluffed hard. Because now the leverage? It's not in the owner's suite. It's in the locker room. It's in the fan base. It's in Micah Parsons knowing that the longer Jerry waits, the worse this looks. And let's be clear, the Cowboys aren't built to absorb this kind of hit. Think about it. The moment Micah goes, that defense loses its identity. You think Trayvon Diggs is going to carry the load on his own? You think Leighton Vander Esch is suddenly going to step up and become the emotional engine of the team? Please. Micah is the anchor, the engine, the thermostat. He sets the temperature. Without him, that defense loses its teeth, and suddenly every weakness on the offensive side of the ball becomes magnified. Dak's inconsistencies? Exposed. The offensive line's regression? Highlighted. The coaching decisions? Picked apart. Micah makes up for a lot. And Jerry knows it. But instead of leaning in, he's leaning back. Instead of securing the foundation, he's picking at the paint. And here's where things get even messier, because now, the damage is psychological. It's not just about the headlines. It's about trust. The locker room sees how Micah's being treated. They're watching. They're wondering, if they'll do that to him, what happens to me when it's my turn? You think that doesn't matter? Ask any championship team. Culture is everything. When players stop believing the organization has their back, the whole structure collapses. And in Dallas? That belief is hanging by a thread. Even worse? This fracture between Micah and Jerry is just the tip of the iceberg. Because every interview now, every press conference, every sideline interaction, it's all being dissected. Every vague quote from Micah about accountability, every deflection from Jerry about timing, it's all fuel. And fans? They've had enough. Let's be real, Cowboys fans are some of the most loyal, die-hard people on the planet. But even they have limits. And nothing tests loyalty like watching your team voluntarily light their own future on fire. Social media is a war zone. Sports radio is in meltdown. Former players are throwing in their 2 cents. Heck, even rival fan bases are chiming in because let's face it, everyone loves a good Cowboys implosion. And now you've got analysts asking questions Jerry doesn't want to hear. What does this say about leadership? What does this say about how the Cowboys treat talent? What kind of message does this send to future draft picks? Spoiler alert, it's not good. Because while the Cowboys are stuck spinning PR statements and dodging microphones, Micah's camp is staying calm, focused, and strategic. They know they don't need to win the argument. They just need to keep showing the world that Jerry's in the wrong. And right now, that scoreboard's getting hard to ignore. So where do we go from here? Let's imagine 2 timelines. Timeline A, Jerry wakes up. He swallows the pride, picks up the phone, and pays Micah what he's worth. No games. No backloading contracts. Just a straight-up commitment to the player who's carried this defense for 3 straight years. The path? It saves the locker room. It saves the fan base. And it gives Dallas a chance at being taken seriously this season. Timeline B? Jerry doubles down. He tries to wait it out. He spins it like a tough business decision. He dares Micah to sit out. And Micah does. He sits. He trains. He posts cryptic photos on Instagram. He becomes the story every week the Cowboys struggle on defense. And eventually, the pressure becomes too much. The noise is too loud. The offers are too tempting. And Micah leaves. Dallas gets a few picks and a promise to rebuild. And Micah? He lands in a place that treats him like a king. He becomes a captain, a champion, and a legend somewhere else. That moment? It would haunt the Cowboys for decades. And the craziest part? It's all avoidable. It's all fixable. The fix is right there. Because Micah doesn't want drama. He wants a future. He wants clarity. He wants respect. But respect isn't a slogan. It's a decision. It's action. And unless Jerry decides to act soon, this team isn't just going to lose a player, they're going to lose the locker room, the season, and the belief that the Cowboys can ever get out of their own way. So here we are. A sideline blow-up. A standoff in full view of the media. A generational player threatening to walk. And a billionaire owner staring at the wreckage of his own stubbornness. This isn't just about Micah Parsons. This is about every future Cowboy watching this saga unfold and asking, do I really want to play for that? And if the answer becomes no, then Jerry hasn't just lost a star. He's lost the whole damn galaxy. So buckle up, Cowboys fans. Because unless something changes, and fast, we're all about to watch this franchise burn its brightest star, just to prove a point. And trust me, no one wins that game. Alright, let's drive this saga into its final stretch, for now. Because if you thought this story peaked on the sideline with Micah Parsons walking off mid-confrontation, think again. That wasn't the climax. That was the warning shot. This entire Cowboys situation? It's a pressure cooker, and the lid is rattling. Right now, behind closed doors at the Star, you better believe there are emergency meetings happening. Jerry Jones and his inner circle are huddled up, parsing every word, every social media post, every mic'd-up clip. They're trying to get ahead of the story, but here's the problem. They're already behind it. The fans saw it. The players saw it. Micah made sure of that. There's no walking this one back with a carefully worded press release or a half-hearted locker room speech. You don't air out dirty laundry in front of the world and expect everyone to forget by kickoff. Not in this era. Not with this player. Because Micah didn't just speak for himself. He spoke for every player who's watched their hard work turned into marketing fluff. For every guy who's been told to wait their turn while the franchise plays favorites. For every athlete who's been fed empty promises about team legacy while being treated like a chess piece on someone else's ego board. Micah said what needed to be said. And the response? Silence from the top. Spin from the front office. And a growing sense that, Once again, the Cowboys are prioritizing optics over outcome. Here's what that tells you. This isn't about building a championship culture. It's about protecting a brand. But here's the catch. Micah Parsons is the brand now. Not Jerry. Not the marketing slogans. Not the throwback uniforms or the hype videos. It's Micah's dominance. His energy. His fire. His ability to completely wreck an offense and make it look personal. And if Jerry doesn't see that, then he's not just missing the forest for the trees, he's torching the whole damn forest because the trees won't shake his hand. And it's poetic, isn't it? The very culture Jerry built, bold, brash, star-powered, is now turning against him. And the guy at the center of it? A 24-year-old phenom who just wants to win and be treated like the generational talent he is. So here's where we're at. Micah's not backing down. The locker room is holding its breath. And Jerry? He's either about to make the smartest decision of his career, or the most unforgettable mistake in Cowboys history. Your move, Jerry. And just so we're clear, the clock's not ticking. It's screaming,